One who actually first said, maybe you should speak at Cappuccino Connections, and he said, are you serious? Would I ever be allowed to speak here? And then Lara was the one who said, you should talk about how you became a sexologist. And I was resisting it because why would that? I know it's interesting, but how would that be of value to any of you? And then Gina was the one who said, no, we want to have a more personal kind of sharing in Cappuccino's connections now, and it would be interesting, so please share. So I found myself resisting this, and I asked myself why. I'm actually an introvert. I am an introvert. It is exhausting for me working with and being with people all the time, but it is a choice. I don't really like to talk about myself. I have no issues with talking about myself, it's just that I don't need to. I don't like to go on and on about myself, unlike some people. And I also do not like to repeat myself. So in my work, there's a lot of repetition because how much of a story do you really want to know? Like at a networking event, like how deep can you go? How much detail do they want? So when people usually ask me what I do, the first thing I just say is to help people and just hope that they stop. I really do. And then I try to change the topic, like why do you do what you do, right? So I was working through this resistance with my friend, and my friend was highlighting how much of a blessing it is that everybody's just naturally curious about what I do. And then I was complaining, going on and on about, well, you know, there are people who just ask for the sake of asking. They know they've met you, they heard about you in the media, and they want to brag to their friends. So before you can answer one question, they have already asked you another 10 questions. So you know they don't really want to know. So I was kind of, venting. So this friend actually got to a point where he said, WTF, what the? People are ignorant, just get over it. So people are ignorant, get over it. We have a room of really, really smart women here. I'm sure you meet ignorant people. And you do get frustrated working with some of your clients or customers, and they give you lots of grief, or maybe they ask you a lot of questions, and you get frustrated. And so this really struck a chord with me, and I just wanted to share some of the things that I experienced as a sexologist. So I'm often treated as the joker, because, well, you must be really funny, you must be fun, because sex, right? So tell us a joke. What's your weirdest client? So it's all confidential, but they just want to be entertained. That's why they're asking that question. I get that, but I refuse to be that, right? Because my work is actually really, really serious and really, really sad most of the time. I also get rejected sometimes from time to time from even advertising because of my subject matter. I've had problems getting venue space for my workshops. I have had people say, ask me in my face, are you married? How can you talk about sex if you're not married? I've had men come up to me in the start of my practice, and also even just a few days ago, people who think that I'm basically somebody who provides some kind of massage prostitute. This particular person who made me upset actually was asking me whether there is any touch or nudity in our sessions. And a few months ago, I already told him no. And then he tries again a few days ago, and really upset me because he was asking a legitimate question. I answered him, gave him all the information, and then he came around and said, okay, so I just want to be clear that there's no orgasm in the session. So things like that actually does rattle me from time to time. And then there's the women, right, who look at me and then they're like, oh, she's talking about sex all the time, she must be slut, right? And then they're worried about me like taking their husbands or boyfriends and whether they're safe. And so these are some of the things that I have to experience. I also actually have problems with the gay community in Singapore because I'm not gay. So I have it on all fronts, okay? Trust me, I'm just giving you a flavor of some of the things that I go through. And I can get very angry, very sometimes very guarded, and I have to be very mindful not to take it out, right, on the innocent ones, right? So at this point, maybe you're wondering like why? So why do you do it? I think it comes back to a very, very conscious choice of me choosing to do this because I care. So when I get fed up with all these things, harassment, wankers, callers, people who ask, or get badly treated, I ask myself why. So I choose because I care, and on a really hard day, I say, yeah, okay, you care, lots of people care, why can't somebody else do it? You don't have to do it, why don't you just give up or go somewhere else and it'll be easier? And then it just comes back to a choice. It's not, I care and I choose to care. I choose to care in my actions, and it involves showing up. Here. It involves confronting my fears. So some of the fears I had was being judged. Some of my fears was not being good enough, not being trained enough, not being good enough in public speaking. And so these are fears because I'm actually an introvert. I am an introvert. And so coming to a deeper question, why sexology? So you care, you could have done anything, you could be a social worker, you could be a counselor. Why sexology? So I was in corporate communications for 8 years, doing PR, marketing, advertising, and I was working really in the mass level. And then I quit all that because I got sick and tired of corporate world, and I started a non-profit helping young people in the area of career guidance. So that was about 2 years, and the model didn't work. It's hard running a non-profit, and then you work with volunteers and they have their commitments. It's really hard, and it was really painful losing that non-profit. And while I was doing my non-profit, I took a certificate in counseling. I started doing volunteer counseling in another organization, and I realized, wait a minute, I've always been working on the mass, and now I'm working with individuals one by one, speaking with them, volunteer counseling on the phone, and then realizing it actually really makes a difference. And I actually realized, wait a minute, I'm actually good at this. So I am an impatient person, I'm an introvert, but somehow something happened when I speak with that person on the phone or when I work with people. I think it's this empathy that I had and this patience that I didn't know came from where. And then I said, wait, I am actually good at this. And so around that time when my non-profit was falling apart and we decided to close it, really you would think I'm a loser. So I have 2 degrees. By that time I have a master's in public policy. I was thinking I'm going to do NGO work. Then I don't want to do NGO work anymore. I don't want to work with people. I just want to work for myself. And I'm good with working with people. So I have 2 degrees. I'm a loser. I'm losing my non-profit. What would I do? And around that time, there were newspaper articles in the media. This was 7 years ago, 2005, 2006, in the media, and there were reports of rising STI rates, sexually transmitted infections, and there was rising teenage pregnancy. And I don't know why something happened to me. I got really, really, really angry about the situation because we don't talk about sex. We don't talk about sex in positive ways. I love sex, I enjoy sex, I think sex is important, but why do we never talk about it in good ways? So it got me thinking, it's part of the reason why we have rising STI rates and teenage pregnancies, because we don't talk about sex, and then when we talk about sex, it's always in negative ways. So I got angry, and I couldn't sleep. And that made me think, okay, wait a minute, you have all these skills in marketing, PR, advertising, you know how to run an organization, you have some volunteer counseling experience, you have a certificate in counseling, but you also have this interest and you think you know a lot about sex. So why don't I take it further and pursue? So that's when I decided to do my 3rd degree, which is my doctorate in human sexuality. And this was 7 years ago. So it took me 2 years to get my doctorate. So I did my doctorate with the intention of coming back and start my practice. So I already had that vision, and I was afraid. I was afraid. You know, it's this like nervous, excited, afraid feeling you get when you're on something big. Yeah. So I knew I was afraid, but I knew I had to do it. And got my doctorate, came back. The first year was really, really hard. I really almost gave up because there were so many people who told me, "Are you sure you want to do this? Maybe you should just stay in the US. Why would you want to be in Singapore? To hell with Singaporeans. they don't deserve you. Why don't you just go to US, you earn more, and it's much easier for you. And it's true, it will be easier, but I am Singaporean. I know how the system works. I know PR, marketing, advertising. I have started an organization. I am Singaporean, and my family, my home is here. So why would I want to go? I know it's easier, but then at the same time, there wasn't anybody else. So all these naysayers were telling me go. You'd be surprised how many people are telling me go. And it's been 4 years. So Eros coaching is now 4 years, and in 4 years, a lot of things can happen. You have 16 seasons. Spring, summer, fall, winter, 16, and you 4 years. So if you add another 3 years, then I have the 7 year each. Some people fall in love, get married, they can date for a year, and then they get pregnant, and then if that had happened, then you would have a 1-year-old in 4 years, right? So I met my second husband in San Francisco. We dated long distance for 1.5 years, and we got married for 1 year in Singapore, and I have been separated with my second husband for 1.5 years. A lot of people don't know this, and this is the first time I'm sharing publicly because it has been really difficult for me, and I cannot pretend to be a sex expert. I cannot pretend I am a sex expert. I cannot pretend to be a relationship expert. People say, well, it's complimentary, you could easily talk about love, relationships, dating. I could, but that would be lying because I am not trained in that area. I know what it takes to be trained in that area. So people running around calling themselves expert in this and that, but they don't have the training, and I wasn't going to be one of them to run around calling myself a relationship expert. And I have had 2 failed marriages. I have no right to call myself a relationship expert. But I do know some things about what not to do, and I am very careful when I work with my clients not to project my own issues onto them. And because of my willingness to be real with my clients and talk about my own struggles only when it's relevant to them, through some very, very serious and intense stuff when we come together. So the title of this little talk is be very good or be very bad. So I have been very good. I have 3 degrees. I've done a lot of the right things by the book, by Singapore standards. I knew in order to be credible, I had to get my freaking degree in sex. So I did. And so I did all those right things. I have my company. I am often cited and quoted in the media. It's not hard for me to get publicity because I'm the only one. So that's some of the things that I did right. But the so-called bad things is I've had 2 failed marriages, I don't have any kids. Some people will call me a failure, and because I am the failure. So I understand that life is just full of shades. It's not black or white. People like to be very judgmental, and I'm probably like the shining example of please don't judge, right? So you've heard some things about the kind of person I am, what I face in my work, why I became a sexologist, and a little bit about my personal life. So I don't really like to not give you guys some takeaways. So takeaways is 3 tips. Get cleaner, clearer, sharper. Cleaner, clearer, sharper. So get cleaner. So I was separated for 1.5 years, and last year, for most of last year, I was actually depressed. I was still seeing clients. I was very careful not to project it onto them, but most of the time I was really, really just quiet. And because I was depressed, I knew I needed to get out of it. And so what I did was I developed a daily routine of exercising, and I have been exercising every day, almost every day, for the last 8-9 months. And that really helped because as a sexologist, I see clients. Some days I have 1, some days I have 2, some days I have 5, and every day is different. Then sometimes I have talks. So every day is different, and I didn't have that routine. And this is what I want to share with you ladies, because you are so busy. You have family, you have kids, you have husband, you have your work, and sometimes you work from home, and some of you are maybe figuring out what the hell you want to do with your life. And we get busy, we give and give and give, and we have this tendency to do that. But when do we give to ourselves first? And when I put myself first and I developed this daily routine of exercising and meditating, my life changed because I became cleaner. and it really got me out of depression. And this is something that I'm not going to change for the rest of my life, because I realize now how much this routine has helped me, because I take care of me first. I nourish myself, and when I take care of myself, then I can help my clients. And if I love my work so much, and my work is so important to me because I help people, then why am I not taking care of myself first? So the first one, get cleaner, get clearer, get clear about your why. When I hit rock bottom, when I face scumbags, time wasters, wankers, and sometimes a few in the same day, I have to be very clear why I'm doing it. And sometimes we face obstacles. We need to be very clear why we are doing it. Why is it important? Why does it even matter? Is it really about the money? No. If it's about the money, you're not going to do very well, because it cannot be about the money only. The third tip is get sharper. So when I had problems getting some opportunities to help or work with the gay community, and then I have resistance and obstacles, I tell myself that, okay, right now I might be the first sexologist, but I may not stay the only, but I do want to be the best. And this is what I tell myself, that I want to be so good that nobody can deny that I'm good. And when you are that good, it's not because you're famous, but because you're really good, then things will be easier. So I'm focused on being cleaner, clearer, sharper. And a few months ago, maybe 2 months ago, I told my friend, I've been working on myself, and I'm feeling much happier, I'm in a much better place. And this friend said, Martha, it's great. It's great that you're working on yourself. This is what all of us need to be doing. We need to work on ourselves so that we can help the world. This is the thing that we can do to help humanity. And I thought about it, and he's right, because we spend so much time busy with the doing, with the should do's. We don't get clear inside, and when you help yourself first, then you can help other people more organically and much more realistically, much more honestly. So my advice, suggestion, takeaway for you guys is really don't come from a place of ego. Get cleaner, clearer, sharper, so that you can become very